Jalut came to fight. The single before the army fought them. Jalut came, and they say, "Okay, send your best person. Send your best person to fight." Now nobody wants to go forward and fight Jalut. He's scary. He's big, and he's famous for being a strong man. Nobody wants to fight. Everybody's scared. But in the army of Talut, there's a young boy. There is a young boy. This young boy comes forward and he says, "I want to fight Jalut." He was like, "What? You, Abdullah? You want to fight Jalut? No, you're not fit to fight Jalut. You're too young, too small, too weak, too inexperienced. How can you fight Jalut? You cannot fight Jalut." Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Today's story is about a very interesting episode that Allah talks about in the Qur'an. Okay, Allah is talking about this story in Suratul Baqarah. In which surah? Suratul Baqarah. Okay, and the story is about Bani Israel. Bani Israel are the people of Musa alayhi salam. Yeah, we heard it in the stories that Musa alayhi salam, saved them through the ocean. Yeah, he parted the ocean. The ocean became two big mountains of water, and they passed through it. Yeah. Now after Musa alayhi salam, Bani Israel, they lived for some time on good manners and good ways. Yeah, they followed Allah's orders. They followed what Musa alayhi salam told them. But after some time, they left their good manners and good ways. Yeah, they started disobeying Allah and the teachings of Musa alayhi salam. Yeah, and they started to live a life which was full of disobedience. Yeah, after Musa alayhi salam. Okay, so Allah decided to punish them. This is after Musa alayhi salam. Musa alayhi salam has passed away, and now Bani Israel are living without a prophet. Without a prophet. So Allah took away their lands. How? Allah sent people to rule over them. People to rule over them. People to oppress them. People to humiliate them. And there were a lot of armies who came, who humiliated them, who took away their lands, who took away their women and their children, and they burned their houses, and they oppressed them, and they removed them from their lands. Yeah. So one of those kings who oppressed them, who was a zalim, Allah sent to them, his name was Jalut. His name was Jalut, and he oppressed them and humiliated them. And not just that. After Musa alayhi salam, Bani Israel had with them a tabut. What is a tabut? Tabut in which it's a coffin. It's a coffin. Yeah, and it's called Ark of the Covenant. Ark of the Covenant. It's called that. Now in that tabut they had Musa alayhi salam's stick. It was there in the tabut. In the tabut there were tablets on which Musa alayhi salam, when he went to meet Allah, Allah gave him some commandments. Yeah. So in that tabut they had that. In that tabut they had a copy of the book of Musa alayhi salam. Yeah, Torah. They had these. They had the tablets. They had the asa of Musa alayhi salam and some other belongings of Musa alayhi salam and Harun alayhi salam. It was in the tabut, and this tabut was a source of confidence, a source of victory for them. So whenever the Bani Israel went to fight in battles, they carried a tabut with them, and they won those battles. Yeah, and they were proud of the fact that they had this tabut with them. But excuse me, but when they started to disobey Allah, Allah took away the Talut also from them. So some king, somebody, they took away the Talut, and they didn't have the Talut also. They didn't have the Ark of the Covenant, and they felt very humiliated because of that. So now in this time, when the humiliation continued, Allah sent a prophet to them. And they named this prophet. Now Jalut is the king who's oppressing them now, and who's driven them away from their lands. Yeah. So Allah sent a prophet called Shamil alayhi salam. Called Shamil alayhi salam. In English they say Samuel alayhi salam. We don't have his name in the Qur'an, but it's mentioned. Yeah. So Allah sent this prophet to them. Now Bani Israel requests this prophet that please appoint for us a king. Appoint for us a king, a ruler who can guide us and who can lead us into war with Jalut. We want to fight Jalut because he's oppressed us, he's humiliated us, he's taken away our lands, he's taken away everything from us. So please appoint excuse me, please appoint a king for us, and we want to fight with this king, and we want to take away our lands, and we feel humiliated and oppressed. So this Nabi Shamil alayhi salam, he said, will you fight when Allah asks you to fight, or would you run away? Yeah, because they did not fulfill their promise with Allah. So he said, would you run away when Allah asks you to fight? They said, no, we would fight because they have destroyed our homes, they have taken away our children, they have humiliated us, so we will fight. So please appoint a king. So he prayed to Allah. Now Allah appointed a king over Bani Israel who could lead them to war. Yeah. And the name of this king was Talut. Name of the king was Talut. So Jalut is their oppressor, and Allah appointed a king called Talut. Called who? Talut. Now this Talut king, when the Nabi said that this is the king that Allah has appointed over you, the Bani Israel said, oh, but he's not fit to be a king. He's not from a very elite tribe. He's from a low tribe. He's not a very respectable person among us. Yeah, how can he be a king? He's not fit, and then he's also not very rich. He's not wealthy. So they questioned, how can he be a king? So the Nabi said, Shamil alayhi salam said, no, he is a king that Allah has appointed over you, and Allah gives his kingdom to whosoever he wants. You cannot question what Allah does. You cannot question what Allah does. So now Talut was an ordinary man. They say he was a farmer. He was a farmer. He was not from a very elite tribe. He was not from a very high rank. He was an ordinary farmer. But he was intelligent. He was wise. He was pious, and he was strong. He had a strong body. So the Nabi said, no, Allah has appointed this king over you, and that's it. And a sign for you that Allah has appointed Talut to be a king is that the angels will bring the Talut back to you. Bring what? The Talut back to you, which was a source of rahmah, of barakah, yeah, and of peace to Bani Israel. So they said that the angels would bring back the Talut for you, and that's a sign that Talut is your king, and you should accept him as your king. Yeah. So the angels brought the Talut back to Bani Israel, which had the belongings of Musa alayhi salam and Harun alayhi salam, and they felt very happy and relieved, and they accepted Talut to be their king. They accepted Talut to be there. Now the next step. What's the next step? What's the next step? To fight Jalut. To fight who? Jalut. So Talut gathered an army. Some say this was an army of around 33,000 men from Bani Israel, and they went to attack Jalut. Now Jalut was famous to be a very strong and a very heavy and a powerful and a cruel man. He was big in size. He was big in size. Everybody was scared of Jalut. It was scared of him. Yeah, they said he has big power and nobody can fight Jalut. And he had an army. He had a huge army. Some say this army was over 400,000 men. Over 400,000 men. That's like 4 lakh people. 4 lakh people army, and they were very less. So Talut leaves and they go to fight Jalut. They go to fight Jalut. Okay. Now Allah says that we would test you on the way. We would test you on the way. Medical Zoom, pay attention. We will test you on the way. There would be a river on the way, and all the men would be thirsty. All the men would be thirsty, and you should tell them not to drink water from the river. This is a test from Allah. When you're thirsty and there's water, Allah says don't drink the water except what you can take in your hand. What you can take in your hand? Except this water, you should not drink water. Now in thirst, you want to drink a lot of water. You want to drink maybe 1 liter water, maybe more when you're thirsty. But Allah says no, except what you can take in your hand, don't drink the water. So Talut told the people, this is Allah's order, nobody would drink from the river except a handful. Except a handful. And he said, those who drink from the river, they are not from me. They are not joining my army. They go back. Yeah, this is a test from Allah. Allah wants to see who would follow, who would obey his orders. So once the river came, they were thirsty. They saw the water and they could not control.
All of them.
Many people, not all of them, many people, majority of them, more than 90%, they drank and drank and drank and drank, except a few. So they say from thousands of men, everybody drank except 313 men. Only 300, around 300, they drank just a handful. Rest everybody drank. And once they drank, they felt full and they went back, because now nobody wants to. They didn't also want to fight Jalut. He's scary, he's big, and they say we cannot handle Jalut, so they go back. So now with Talut, they have a small army, around 300 men. And Jalut, he's a huge man, powerful army, and now they're going to meet Jalut in fight. Now once these two armies came face to face, the battle is not equal. Not equal. But some learned men from the army of Talut, they said, how many times Allah has defeated a big army through a small number of people? Victory comes from Allah, not from people, not from a big army. Victory comes from Allah. And how many times Allah has defeated a huge army through a small number of people? So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So Talut is now waiting for the battle to happen. Now in those days, before the armies fought, there was a duel. There was a, what's a duel? 1-to-1 fight. 1-to-1 fight. So two armies are standing. They say you send your best person and we'll send our best person. We'll fight, and then after that we'll fight. So that the one who wins that single fight, their morale and their courage becomes good, and they are ready for the fight. So from the army of Jalut, who came? Jalut came. Is it fine? Send your best person. Send your best person to fight. I want to fight that person. Everybody was Jalut. Who would fight Jalut? He's a giant. He's like Hulk. He's like Hulk. Who would fight Hulk? Can you fight Hulk?
Me.
You can't fight Hulk. So Jalut came to fight the single before the army fought them. Jalut came, and they say, okay, send your best person. Send your best person to fight. Now nobody wants to go forward and fight Jalut. He's scary, he's big, and he's famous for being a strong man. Nobody wants to fight. Everybody's scared. But in the army of Talut, there's a young boy. There is a young boy. This young boy comes forward and he says, I want to fight Jalut. He was like, what? You, Abdullah? You want to fight Jalut? No, you're not fit to fight Jalut. You're too young, too small, too weak, too inexperienced. How can you fight Jalut? You cannot fight Jalut. Yeah? But this young boy said, no, I'll fight Jalut. And the other day, now he's a shepherd boy. He's a shepherd boy. He said, the other day, there was a lion who was attacking my sheep. I fought that lion and I killed the lion. And there was this bear one day who was attacking me and my sheep. I fought that bear. I killed that bear. So I'll fight Jalut. Don't worry. Now everybody was like, they said, okay, this boy's come. Okay, go. Oh, okay, go. You go. You go and fight Jalut. But they were scared. They didn't want to fight Jalut. They said, fine, you go. You go. We'll watch from here and we'll see the fight. We'll see the fight. Now this young boy, they gave him an armor to wear to fight Jalut. Now even the armor was too big. What's an armor?
Armor is something
that you wear. This steel thing, iron thing you wear to protect your body from swords, from arrows. So they gave him this armor, but this armor was also too big. It did not fit him. I said, Abdullah, how would you wear that? We don't have an armor of your size. There's no armor available of your size. How would you fight Jalut? So they tried to fit their armor, but the armor didn't fit. So they said, the young boy said, fine, no problem. You keep the armor. I'm not used to the armor. I don't know how to wear it. I can't carry it. Let it be. I'll fight Jalut as it is. So a big giant and a young boy fight.
the young boy.
And the name of this young boy was Dawood alayhi salam. And young boy was Dawood alayhi salam. And next week we have a very famous fight between Dawood alayhi salam and Jalut coming up. Yeah, and next week we start the story of Dawood alayhi salam, how he fought Jalut, and we don't know what happens in the fight. Yeah, so next week inshallah we'll start the story. Until then, have a good day, enjoy. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.